Yahoo! Welcome back to Video Game Figure Collector, and today we will be checking out The World Ends With You, the animation version of Neku, Shiki, Joshua, Beat and Rhyme. These figures can be purchased through the North America Square Enix store, and these are UFO character prices here in Japan. Let's check it out. Yahoo! It's been a while since our last figure review, so now I'm gonna make it up to you guys and I will review 5 figures from the series The World Ends With You all at the same time. Now for transparency, I would just like to inform you guys that I bought this through Mandai Shoten and Super Book of Bazaar for very low prices. I got Neku and Shiki from Mandai Shoten. I got Neku for $14 US and Shiki for around $8 US. Now for Joshua and Beat and Rhyme, I got those guys for Beat and Rhyme was $7 each and Joshua was $5 US tax included. As the montage of my unboxing is playing in the background, let me just say my thoughts about the box. These are very well designed boxes. They are a far cry from what regular UFO catcher prices look like. First of all, each of them has a different look on each side. Two sides would have some graffiti written on it, then a monochrome background of the figure, then the front would have a close-up of the portrait of the figure, then on the other side is a somewhat full body shot, and on top of the box you would be able to see the World Ends With You logo, the animation on top of it, and the sticker of the Square Enix store. Also, it is clearly stated that the target market for these figures is 15 years old and above. Since Shiki is a Bishojo figure, you would know what you would see when you look under some of the parts. I love that they use polystyrene on the packaging, and that makes the figure well protected from the outside even if the boxes do get into some damages and hit some other things along delivery or something else. Polystyrene is also the packaging they use on Marble Legends, so you could clearly see that this is a well thought out packaging. Another thing that I would like to compliment about all of these 5 figures is that all of their bases are themed after Shibuya Crossing, which the game and the anime has the setting of. Each and every base has their name on it, along with 3 to 2 lines of the Shibuya Crossing pedestrian lane. The packaging states that all of this are non-scale figures, but upon sizing them up using a ruler, they range around 18 to 19 centimeters. And comparing it to my other figures, I could assume that they are around 1/10 to 1/9 scale. For just a heads up for if you're wondering how huge these are. I tend to bash a lot of those UFO catcher prices packaging, but I highly advise to keep the packaging or at least cut out a part of the packaging, the boxes of these figures for future use or just as backgrounds when you want to take pictures of it. These are also photogenic. Currently, The World Ends With You has been released on 3 platforms, originally on the Nintendo DS, then later on the Nintendo Switch, which just got re-released last year. But the version that is my favorite when it comes to its control and accessibility would have to be the iOS or the Android version, because you could use your headset on the other formats or the other platforms, but I just prefer the mobile version of this because it controls really great, and I was able to finish it on that platform. One thing I did hate about the game in the mobile version is that it included some microtransactions. So if you just want to play the game, better go grab the mobile version for easy access. Now let's check out the details of the figures. As you could see, the sculpt is really great and each of them are only in one piece, so it is very stable and very sturdy based on my shake test and based on holding it. But there seems to be some blurry seam lines which does not really stand out, but there are some seam lines. And for Neku, you could see here on his hair, the back of his hair anyway, not the front, that the seam line seems to be more obvious. But if you're just gonna display him facing to the front, it won't really be any bother. Some minor bleeding and some minor scraps on the paint may may seem a little bit of a turn off, but overall, for its aesthetic, and it is a really great looking sculpt. I like the nonchalant portrait of Neku, and also you could see that his accessories are really detailed, from his headphone to his MP3 player, and up to his shoes, which are somewhat Kingdom Hearts esque. Now it's time for Shiki. I really love what they did with the accessories. It's just that, for example, here on Shiki, she has some seam lines on the legs and some seam lines on her arms. There's some problems on her elbow, and her hat has a glaring seam line going from the left to the right. Now, uh, I'm not gonna be really that picky with it, but there's just some paint blots and some bleeding that does seem really out of place when you really look at it up close. But considering its retail price at the moment, and it would not really be fair to compare it to Kotobukiya, since that is around uh, that one figure from Kotobukiya is the equal amount for all of these five figures. Moving on to Beat, you could really appreciate the sculpt from his muscles, his biceps, but still the problems would persist with the bleeding on the paint. Now, for his accessories, when you look at it from far away, it really looks really nice, and you could really see the details far away. But when you check at it up close, you could clearly see that there are no holes in the chains. The chains would really look toyish, but I loved what they did with his hair sticking out from his bonnet, and that the tip of his bonnet looks like a knuckle. Now, if checking on it more, the folds on his clothes look really nice. It's just such a shame that it is a consistent problem with these figures, that there seems to be some visible seam lines when you look at it up close. Now, moving over to Rhyme, she is such a playful character, and I love the portrait of Rhyme. It's a real contrast to what Beat looks like. Beat is much more serious. Well, it comes with their personality, and Rhyme has a very playful personality when you play the game. Still the same issues, some bleeding, some seam lines, but it is less obvious when it comes to Rhyme. I like her bell. Also, I forgot to mention one more problem I have with the Vid figure is that they did not even include his skateboard. Anyway, let's get back to Joshua. As this is the animation version of Joshua, he is not holding his flip phone from the games. Instead, they replace it with a smartphone. But out of all the figures, the problems does not seem too obvious with the Joshua figure. Maybe because he has he has less accessories than the other figures. He has a more casual look to him, and all of them really exudes As for Armand Joshua, I won't be saying anything else so that I want to make this as a spoiler-free review as possible. So I did all the shake tests off camera since there are five of them, and I would not like to bore everyone by seeing me shaking the figures one by one. Instead, here is a montage of how they all look on different angles, and as for their grades, I would rank them. Joshua and Rhyme would rank around 4 out of 5. For Beat and Shiki and Neku, I would rank all the three of them 3 out of 5 because even though they have such great sculpts, very nice portraits. It's still not in the level of the Kotobukiya figures, but since they are really less expensive for what they are still very great alternatives if you are on a tight budget. So if you were gonna choose whether to get only one for Neku, since Neku is the only one who has other figures on other lines like Kotobukiya and Bring Arts, then I would recommend, if you have the budget, go for Kotobukiya. If you want a static figure, go for Bring Arts if you want something more. As for the others, there you don't really have any choices. These are the only release for the other characters. But I did not regret buying them since they all look so great and they are very cheap. And if gonna grade this as a set, I would grade it 4 out of 5 since they all look so good together. They have a great packaging, and I am really happy with my purchase. By the way, you could also check amazon.co.jp if you want to buy these figures. I'll put links down below in the description for the toy hunts where I got these figures. Also, some additional information. The Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo DS versions of this game, the Japanese released ones, do not have English language support, but the iOS version does. Thank you so much for watching my review of The World Ends With You, the animation price figures. I hope I was able to help you decide on your purchase. Feel free to leave a comment down below for any suggestions. Check out my channel for other content like unboxing, toy hunts, and geek talk. Thank you so much for watching. Click down below for more content, and this geek is out of here.